Hey guys, I hope that you enjoyed the build video that we just shot. It's got a little bit of a G minor kind of esque vibe to it from a build standpoint. Lots of really cool components. Now, I don't usually do these. I always mean to. I've got a couple of past videos where I'm like, hey, I'm going to do a bike check. But reality of the matter is I never really get to it. So I wanted to take some time. I just cleaned the bike up. And I wanted to make sure that I got a proper bike check done on this thing because, you know, honestly, I don't know how long I'll have it. I tend to cycle through bikes quite frequently. But other than that, it's just a really unique and very cool bike. I've got a lot of bits and pieces that I've transferred over from bike to bike because I just like them. And hopefully, if you're making a decision to buy one of these bikes, you know, my information can help you out. So, you know, before we jump into this, you know, I love the fact that I've got supporters of the channel. The channel has grown much more than I ever thought it could, and I just want to keep it growing. I love mountain bike. I'm a mountain bike enthusiast at heart. I love everything about these things, including the community that surrounds it. And so I hope that you guys can comment. I hope that you can subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like the video if you enjoy it. Other than that, let's dive right into the bike check. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get into the bike check. I think, as would be natural, let's go from the front of the bike and move backwards. Now, there are some really cool custom bits on this bike that I've transferred from bike to bike, and so I want to kind of tell you guys why I did that and some of the decisions I've made on this, as well as just kind of give you guys some references. So, this is a 2021 Trek Fuel EX 9.9. There are some bits and pieces on this bike that you would get if you bought the bike factory stock. Some things like, of course, the rear shock I haven't touched. You've got the front fork up here. There's different versions of this bike. If you get the AXS version or the AXS version of this bike, you will get this derailleur that I've got back here. And that's probably, honestly, where this thing stops. And then everything else on this, I've done a custom bit to. And let's just really dive into that. So, starting at the front, I think it's important to talk about the fork. This is a 2021. It's a Fox Factory 36. Now, this looks super long. Currently, it's set to 160 millimeters of travel. Honestly, it's because I'm lazy and I haven't reduced the travel down to the proper 140, 150. I'm not exactly sure what I want to reduce that travel to. And so, until I make that decision, I'm going to hold off on doing that. Plus, it's really hard to find these air springs for these forks at the moment, and quite frankly, this bike is really fun to ride in that, you know, 160 range, which sounds really dumb. I should have a slash if I was going to do that, but honestly, I'm lazy and it's fun. So 2021 Fox Factory 36 up front. Moving into the cockpit, now you'll notice I'm not running the Bontrager bars, and I'll get a close-up shot of this, but you know, in this case, I'm actually doing what's called a knock block stop or a clamp like here. So this is just a piece on the stem that allows me to lock up that knock block so I can run just a standard spacer kit above that so I can put whatever stem I want on top of this. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and dive into a close-up shot as I'm discussing this. Alright guys, so as you can see right here, this is that knock block stop that I was talking about. So you have the knock block, you have this spacer that basically stops it. These come in two different styles. You can get this one, which doesn't have a lock ring nut here to clamp it down. I would probably prefer the other one, but when I bought this bike, this is what came with it, so we're going to stick it. And then I've got some carbon spacers there. And if we shift up here just a second, I do have a nuke-proof Horizon aluminum stem. This thing is a 5 degrees rise. It's a 35 millimeter length stem. I absolutely love this stem. It's absolutely incredible. Backing up just a little bit, we've got the Rev Grips Pro on this bike. Now, if you haven't heard of Rev Grips, they're a pretty unique suspension grip. Essentially, the grip floats on the handlebars so that when you give it, it's got just a little bit of give. Now, what's that? That's supposed to provide a little bit extra comfort and squish to the ride. Whether or not it does that, honestly, I haven't felt that much of a difference, but they're pretty cool and very customizable. Moving down from that, of course, we've got the SRAM AXS trigger right here, and you can see behind that, I am running SRAM Code R brakes. These would probably not be my first choice. However, they've kind of followed me from bike to bike. They are a 4-piston. They work really well. They've got good stopping power. I would have preferred the RSCs, get a little bit lighter build on here. But honestly, it's a solid brake to be running. Now, matched to everything and holding it all together, we've got the Enve M9 carbon bar. This thing is uncut, so it's a massively wide 810 millimeter carbon bar, 31.8 clamp diameter. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure the back sweep and the up sweep here, but it just fits me really, really well. I came from the M7, unfortunately had a crack in that bar, got this warranty. They sent me the M9 because the M7 was a couple months out, and I have absolutely loved it. Now let's go ahead and jump over to the other side to talk about the dropper remote. All right, guys, so I am running the Wolf Tooth Light Action dropper remote. Now, if you're not familiar with Wolf Tooth, I've had all sorts of remotes from bike yoke to the Fox ones to some really cheap stuff that I found on Amazon just for fun. And quite frankly, you really can't beat Wolf Tooth. I just think the lever action is just absolutely perfect. This massive bearing here just makes pulling that cable so easy. And I just absolutely love the dropper lever. All right, guys, for the saddle, we are running an Ergon SM Pro. Very comfortable saddle, really for kind of all types of riding styles. And honestly, I just absolutely love it. So for water bottle, this sounds like a really dumb thing to talk about, but I've had this Fidlock for many, many years. I love the Fidlock water bottles. They do not do a great job of insulating anything, absolutely anything. You put some ice in there, it's gone on a hot summer's day. But their mechanism is it's just so easy for an on and an off. It looks so clean on the bike and saves a little bit of weight. Plus you can get a pretty big bottle in a very tight, compact area since you don't have the bottle cage. Now, if I pull this off, you will notice that this Trek does have in-frame storage. So you pop that up, pop that off, and you can see that you've got a space in here. Now, just to compare this, I have one Specialized in their SWAT system. Quite frankly, this is a great mechanism for locking this to the bike. However, this opening right here, you're probably only getting about 1.5 inches, maybe up to 2 inches here at the bottom in terms of opening space. So getting things in this are really, really difficult. Let me grab something really quick. All right, so in my Specialized, by the way, this is the storage bag right here that this thing comes with. It slides right in, and you can see it's a pretty small bag, but it's got enough room for kind of probably some small things that you would need. Now, this right here is the Crank Brothers Click bike pump. It's awesome. It's got a gauge built into it. This would fit in my Specialized thumb jumper in the down tube. Now you'll notice here I can get this in. It's about 1 inch shy of being able to actually slide this whole thing in. So I just feel like the stump jumper had a little bit more space. In addition to that, I've got this Crank Brothers multi-tool that would also fit in there, and then I could also get a tube in the Specialized. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm currently running this empty just because all of the gear that I wanted to put in here will not fit. So, you know, I think that this was a good attempt at getting, you know, some storage space within the down tube. However, I do think that Specialized has it a little bit more thought out from an ergonomics perspective. So love that they have this here. Wish the opening was just a titch wider so I could get more stuff in here, keep that weight low, keep it centered and down by the bottom bracket. So love that it's here. You can get a couple of snacks in here if you wanted to, maybe some other tools and stuff. But ultimately, I largely don't use this because it doesn't fit all of my gear. All right, guys, now coming to what I would consider is the most important part of this bike, I have the drivetrain. I don't know if I mentioned how tall I am. I am 5'11". This dropper post that I have on this bike is just the Bontrager Elite. It's a 150 millimeter drop. I am able to slam that all the way down into the bike, and it fits me perfectly. You mentioned I've got a 35 millimeter stem on there, 810 wide bars. Now the cranks are the Truvativ Descent carbon cranks. These things are 165 millimeters. I love short cranks on a bike. Just, you know, honestly, it just keeps I tend to pedal strike a lot, and so a shorter crank just allows me a little bit more room to do that. So, you know, these have seen some excellent use. They're in very good condition. These pedals, I don't know if you guys know this brand too well. This is the Fun Mambas. What I love about these is, I'll be honest, I'm not a confident rider when I'm riding in clips. But I like to be clipped in when I'm going uphill for power transfer, and then I love to be able to have a solid platform pedal that I can ride down and be confident on. Now, Greg Brothers makes a pedal that's similar like this, although it's about half the size, and I don't have actual pins on the pedal. So one of the things that I actually really appreciate is that this is a full platform style pedal, but you flip it around and you've got a cleat to clip into. All right, most people are probably looking at this going, what are you doing to your bike? Yes, I am running SRAM Mono on my Trek Fuel EX 9.9. This is a 10 to 51 tooth Shimano SLX cassette. It is mated and paired up with the SRAM. It's a 2021 SRAM X01 AXS shifter, so wireless shifting, which is super clean. Now, even if this wasn't wireless, just so you guys are aware, the way that the cabling runs to this, you would almost not be able to see it. You'd be able to see it pop out right here and wrap around, but honestly, Trek has done an immaculate job with their cable routing mechanisms within this bike. I do have a Shimano chain to take advantage of the Hyperglide technology on this cassette, and I think the question that everybody is wondering is, does this thing shift perfectly? You betcha it does. Let's go ahead and just go one at a time up. Here it goes. Skip a couple gears. Skip a couple more. Go up to the top. And back pedal, just fine. Go back down. And there you have it. So honestly, it shifts just as well as if I had a SRAM cassette on there. Now, the reason I went with a Shimano cassette and not a SRAM is because I like the gearing ratio in this upper gear. The SRAM cassette just feels like it has such a big jump from this top 3 gears right here. Shimano has just built it a little bit better on this top end, so I just really appreciate that. This is a great mix. I love this. I would highly recommend anybody do this. Now, I was a little bit forced to do this because that brings me into the next section of this video, which is the wheel set. All right, guys, so hopefully you can see that through. I am running the Industry 9 Hydra hubs. These things are just amazing. They sound amazing. Let's go ahead and just give it a bit of a spin here. Get it fast. I mean, these things are absolutely incredible from an engagement standpoint. I am running the gold. These are Sapim Delights, and they're mated to some awesome set of rims. All right, guys, so I am running the NOBL TR32 rims on this. Now, when most people think of a TR32, it's more of an XC style rim. Frankly, I would have loved to have a TR36 on this, or it's a 34. I'm not exactly sure which one. It's their newest wave technology. However, I am running tire inserts in both my rear and my front. I have a Tanis insert in the back here, and I've got a Huck Norris up in the front. These rims, I have thrashed these things around, and honestly, they have held up just fine. I am running a 2.4 Maxxis Ardent in the back and a 2.6 Maxxis Dissector in the front. So very big tire on the front. I didn't really have any issues seating the bead on these things. Also the tires, this is an amazing combo. I love the Dissector in the front, the Ardent in the back. You get a lot of rolling capability with the Ardent, and that Dissector just eats up corners like crazy. So absolutely love this wheel set. It's incredibly light. Now I've kind of killed the lightness with the rim protection. However, I have broken a set of carbon rims, so I'll take about a half to a 3/4 pound weight penalty, so that I just have the comfort knowing that I'm not going to break these rims. If you do, NOBL's got an excellent warranty on them. They will send you a replacement rim. You have to pay the shipping cost, and then of course you've got to get it relaced. But other than that, that's about where you stand. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This bike, I've taken it on a couple of rides. I'll make sure to get some footage of that. The last couple of times I've been out, I've had a hard time with my GoPro getting proper footage. I have a chest mount and I'm still getting used to it, so I apologize that I haven't released any videos on this quite yet. I will, they are coming, but this has been an absolute dream build of a bike for me. You know, this bike is incredible, ultra capable, just really, really fun bike to mess around on. The build kit on this is just super fun. I absolutely love it. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Again, please subscribe, turn on those notifications, like and comment below on any questions that you have on my build specifically or on the bike itself. I have put about 50 or so miles on this bike, so while I'm relatively new to it, I've ridden enough bikes to be able to answer some of those questions. So please feel free to reach out, and I hope you like this video, guys. Until next time, ride happy. Yo!